A new AEW signing has been revealed, but there's been some big details regarding that free agent turning down WWE in hopes of AEW. Also, a current WWE superstar almost signed with AEW, and I thought this was an interesting story. And yes, we are going to talk about a former WWE star who has officially retired. And if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'll always keep you guys updated. And that means we will start off with Primo. You guys remember Primo Cologne? Yeah, well, he just wrestled his final match in wrestling. Per PRW, which is PuertoRicanWrestling.com. And one of the top matches at the most recent World Wrestling Council event. They did their 52nd anniversary show. And at this event, they had thousands of people in attendance. But many of you guys probably didn't know that Primo was actually in a singles match. And if he lost, he had to retire. And he actually did lose. He lost to Ray Gonzalez. And it's in fact true that he is done wrestling. Now, this is very interesting because, as you guys may have heard, Primo and Epico were both on TNA Impact not too long ago. And it was actually very interesting because when they showed up in TNA, it was a rather interesting debut. I thought that was going to lead to a run in TNA. And that's not what happened. And of course, you know, the Primo Cologne, it's may not be the biggest name, but at one point, he had a pretty lengthy career in WWE. Then, you know, obviously their family owns WWC in Puerto Rico. And then, of course, showing up in TNA, you're like, okay, this guy is still active. Him and his brother are still active. And then now they're doing something in TNA. A lot of people probably thought more was going to happen there. Unfortunately not, and now he has officially retired. And listen, here's the thing, man. With like professional wrestling, people do retire. I think we all know that no retirement is truly permanent. We have seen tons of wrestlers retire and then come back. But as far as Primo Cologne goes, I mean, what else can he do in today's day and age? If him and his brother did not actually get a full-length run in TNA, and it was just a one-time thing, like, at this point, you can't expect them to go to AEW. You know, I would very much be shocked if I saw them show up in WWE again. So, really, what else is there to do? I mean, yes, the NWA exists. Yes, GCW exists. MLW. And all these companies exist. But it's just, at this point in time, I think it's just very unlikely. And I'm pretty sure Primo is like 42 or 43 years old. So, listen, the guy's cool. Like, he had a good, career. But he's officially done, and that's kind of all there is to it. But yeah, I'll say it for the millionth time. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't do more with TNA. Would have been cool. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. That brings us to our next topic. There's a WWE superstar who is currently on TV, and I bet you didn't know that she was actually going to be in AEW at one point, and we are, in fact, talking about Piper Niven. Now, you guys might remember Piper Niven was in WWE NXT UK around 2018 or 2019, but Bea Priestley, formerly known as Blair Davenport in WWE, she actually claims publicly that Piper Niven was in fact offered an AEW contract back in 2018, but she had already signed with NXT UK. So this is actually really interesting because there was a lineup of shows in the UK back in 2018, and you guys probably remember this. Fight Forever was going on, and so like Bea Priestley was there, Joe Hendry was there, Cody Rhodes was there, a variety of people were there, and this was like one of the events that happened before AEW was formally announced. However, this is when we were starting to find out behind the scenes that a new company was launching and they're signing talent. So Bea Priestley actually said this with the Sweet Pop with Dion McCracken and Brad Lewis. She says, I got picked up with AEW because there was the British tour over Christmas in 2018. I don't think the company exists anymore, but they had me on it. Piper was on it, and Cody and Brandy were on it. So was Kip Sabian. Basically, I had a match with Brandy, and Cody loved it. Brandy was really happy. Piper, the same thing, had a match with Brandy, and they were really happy. They basically offered me, Kip, and Piper a contract. However, Piper Niven had already signed with NXT UK, so therefore she couldn't do it. But Kip Sabian, on the other hand, said he wanted to move to America. She still wanted to go to Japan, which is actually really interesting because if you guys remember, Bea Priestley was in AEW. She was also in Stardom as well. She was kind of like a part-timer for both, but they allowed her to work both companies. And then Bea Priestley eventually left the company. We saw her go to WWE. Now she's no longer in WWE because she was released. Now she's back in Stardom. But it's very interesting to think about this. Piper Niven almost went to AEW, and I don't feel like the story has ever been told publicly. And who knows what would have happened? Obviously, NXT UK was a very, very strong thing at the start, right? Like it was something that WWE was actually behind, which obviously the pandemic kind of hurt it. But Piper Niven, you know, who knows what would have happened because she went to the main roster. She became Dewdrop. Vince McMahon kind of ruined things. It wasn't until recent with the Secret Hervis, with her and Alba Fire and Chelsea Green. It wasn't up until recently till we actually saw what was happening with Piper Niven actually being utilized. So, I mean, look, things happen for a reason. I'm happy for her. She's found a little bit of success in WWE. She's on TV. She doesn't have that stupid Dewdrop gimmick anymore. She's now with Eva Marie. At the end of the day, it kind of worked out for her. But it's interesting to think about what it could have been for her in AEW in the beginning stages. As a company, AEW's biggest issue was the women's division, and it was really hard for AEW to actually sign women because, to be honest, WWE was already loading up NXT UK and, of course, NXT. Just in general, I mean, everything worked out the way it was supposed to, but it is definitely a nice little tidbit to think about. And that's going to bring us to our final topic of today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. A new AEW signing has been revealed, and we got the details. Now, you might know this person, you might not know this person, but you've already got a glimpse of this person on AEW programming, and that's because AEW has signed Arez. Now, if you guys don't know who this is, you might have seen him on MLW. You might have seen him across the indie scene, but you've also seen him appear in a vignette. And yes, if you looked at that vignette, he obviously doesn't look like this photo that you're looking at. That's because Arez is now playing the character of El Clone, which is the new arch nemesis for Hologram. Now, I got made fun of on social media for this, but I thought the idea of having a dark version of Hologram is actually a fun idea. We saw the Sin Cara thing in WWE. This is not the first time the idea has happened before, nor do I care. I think this is actually kind of dope. Having an evil version of Hologram, I think, is fire. I like the vignette. I like the way they presented it. And now it turns out that Arez is joining AEW on a multi-year deal to portray El Clone. Now, with that being said, did you know that WWE was involved here? Well, according to Lucha Blog, which, by the way, Lucha Blog does a really good job of breaking down Lucha Libre news and bringing the news for Lucha Libre. They've noted a couple things that you guys need to know here. So the first thing is Arez actually wrestled on the Dean 2 show that happened just like a week or two ago. AEW staff saw them perform. They saw him and basically, obviously, they wanted him, right? But also what's interesting is that WWE changed their focus from looking at CMLL talent to signing independent talent. And WWE was one of the companies that was interested in bringing in Arez. WWE watched him. They liked what they saw. They want to bring him back to AAA as part of their new initiative out there. And what's even more interesting is when WWE made that offer to him, Arez told AEW, which obviously forced them to make a decision. AEW made an offer, and then in the end, he chose AEW over WWE. Now, we don't know the real reason as to why he turned down WWE, but to go to WWE in order to work for AAA or to work in America under AEW's brand, I mean, which one makes more sense? I can't fault the guy, right? I think it just makes a lot of sense. People are going to turn down WWE. People are going to turn down AEW. It's just naturally going to happen. He's a talented guy. I think he's actually going to do really well. I'm excited to see this character. I don't care if you guys make fun of me about it. I think it's a fun idea. And Hologram, I would like to see actually get like a serious push and have some meaningful storyline. So maybe this is the start of it. I'm all for it. I give it a thumbs up. Another new AEW signing. I think this one makes sense. And I very much look forward to seeing how they move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Ango Show.